For decades, the U.S. green card has been seen as a coveted symbol of opportunity, representing a pathway to a brighter future for millions around the world. The dream of gaining permanent residence in the United States has been a beacon for those seeking better job prospects, education, and an improved quality of life. However, as we step into 2025, this dream is facing a serious challenge. What if the very countries that have long relied on this pathway to the American dream are now at risk of losing their access to the green card? In today's video, we'll uncover which 7 Asian countries might find their citizens no longer eligible for this life-changing opportunity. What has triggered this dramatic shift, and what does it mean for the global immigration landscape? Join us as we explore the deeper reasons behind this development and its implications on the future of U.S. immigration. Let's dive into the changing dynamics and understand why this shift could reshape the prospects of millions aspiring to live in the U.S. Number 7. Sri Lanka. Why is Sri Lanka facing the risk of losing access to the U.S. green card program in 2025? The answer lies in the country's ongoing and deepening economic crisis. Since 2022, Sri Lanka has been grappling with an unprecedented financial meltdown, marked by soaring inflation, crippling fuel shortages, and political unrest. These challenges have created a mass exodus of citizens seeking a better life abroad, particularly in the United States. The desperate situation has prompted many Sri Lankans to turn to the green card system in hopes of finding a fresh start. But this surge in migration has come with serious consequences. Unfortunately, the high demand for green cards, coupled with a lack of resources to process applications, has opened the door for widespread immigration fraud. Some individuals have resorted to using fake documents, fabricated job offers, and even falsifying family ties to exploit legal loopholes in the immigration process. This dishonest activity has created red flags that have not gone unnoticed in Washington. U.S. embassies are overwhelmed with cases, making the verification process increasingly difficult and complex. On top of the fraudulent activity, Sri Lanka's passport has been slipping in global rankings due to the country's continued instability. This has led to heightened scrutiny of visa applicants and tighter controls on immigration. As the U.S. government grapples with rising security concerns and the need to maintain the integrity of its immigration system, a tough decision looms. Should Sri Lanka continue to have access to the green card, or should it be placed on a restricted list? By 2025, the U.S. government is considering imposing significant limitations on Sri Lanka's access to the green card program. This could include placing Sri Lanka on a restricted list, or potentially suspending its participation altogether, as part of an effort to tighten immigration control in response to growing concerns over fraud and national security. For Sri Lankan citizens hoping for a better future in the U.S., time is running out. The ongoing crisis and the resulting surge in immigration fraud may very well jeopardize the dreams of those hoping to secure a green card. Could the collapse of Sri Lanka's political and economic stability be the very thing that cuts short your American dream? Let us know in the comments if you're watching from Sri Lanka, or if this issue impacts you personally. We'd love to hear your perspective. Now let's move on to the next country on the list. Number 6. Syria. The chances of Syria being added to the U.S. green card restriction list in 2025 are higher than ever, and the reasons for this are deeply rooted in the country's ongoing crisis. Syria has endured more than a decade of brutal civil war, which began in 2011 and devastated the nation. The conflict has left the country in turmoil, destroyed government institutions, and caused the loss of vital public records, leaving millions of Syrians displaced and searching for a better future abroad. The tragic consequences of this war are now creating serious hurdles for Syrian citizens hoping to migrate to the U.S. to start anew. Many applicants are unable to provide the necessary documentation required for the green card application process, such as birth certificates, identification cards, employment records, or educational diplomas. This lack of documentation complicates the application process significantly, as U.S. immigration authorities rely heavily on official records to verify an applicant's identity and background. This absence of documentation is a significant obstacle. In a country where there is no functioning or centralized database, identity verification becomes nearly impossible. Many U.S. embassies in the region are operating at a limited capacity, with some even closed due to the ongoing conflict and instability. This has made the entire process of immigration even more cumbersome and fraught with uncertainty, leading U.S. immigration officials to exercise extreme caution when reviewing applications from Syrian nationals. Several lawmakers have already proposed suspending green card applications from countries that are unable to ensure transparency and provide verifiable documentation. Syria, given its ongoing instability and lack of centralized records, finds itself at the top of this list. While there may still be opportunities for refugees to gain asylum or humanitarian assistance, the standard path to obtaining a green card is rapidly becoming more restrictive. This raises an uncomfortable question. Is it fair to block Syrians who genuinely long for a new life, simply because the very records that are needed to prove their eligibility have been lost to war and chaos? While many may argue that this approach is not fair, it's important to remember that national security and public safety are the U.S. government's top priorities. For Syrians hoping to start a new chapter in the U.S., the road ahead may be more difficult than ever before, with the door to the American dream closing just a little bit tighter. As the situation continues to unfold, we are left with one question. Will the U.S. be able to balance humanitarian needs with the need for security? How many more Syrians will find their dreams dashed due to the lack of documentation in a war-torn country? Number 5. South Korea. South Korea, with its thriving economy, global K-pop influence, and technological innovations, has long been a beacon on the global stage. However, in 2025, the country faces an unsettling challenge that could directly impact its access to the coveted U.S. green card. A challenge stemming from visa overstays and widespread abuse of visa programs. In recent years, a growing number of South Koreans have entered the U.S. on student, tourist, or work visas, only to overstay their permitted time. Some work quietly in states like New York, California, and Texas, often in businesses operated by the Korean community but functioning outside of legal oversight. Others navigate the system by frequently switching visa categories, allowing them to stay in the U.S. long-term without following the legal immigration process. While these violations don't represent the majority, the sharp rise in such incidents has drawn significant attention from U.S. immigration authorities. Additionally, a troubling trend has emerged in the form of green card fraud, specifically through sham or contract marriages, often arranged online or facilitated by immigration brokers. These fraudulent marriages have been flagged in U.S. immigration databases, putting South Korea, traditionally one of the U.S.'s strongest allies, under intense scrutiny. The increasing frequency of these cases is now a critical issue for both governments to address. The urgency around this problem has only escalated in 2025, as U.S. immigration policy tightens, driven by political pressure to combat fraud and reduce the growing application backlogs. Countries like South Korea, historically enjoying high approval rates for green cards, are now subjected to more stringent scrutiny. If these violations continue, the consequences could be severe. Green cards allocated to South Korean citizens could be significantly reduced, or worse, suspended entirely. The path forward for South Korea is clear, but it requires immediate action. The country must ramp up law enforcement, improve public awareness of immigration laws, and collaborate closely with U.S. authorities to address the growing problem of visa abuses. Without these bold steps, the hopes of thousands of South Koreans aspiring to study, work, or reunite with family in the U.S. may soon face a daunting roadblock. As we move into this new era, the question remains: can South Korea take swift and decisive action to prevent the loss of green card opportunities? Or will the issue of visa abuse and fraud cause further damage to its relationship with the U.S., leading to stricter restrictions for its citizens? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's discuss the future of green card opportunities for South Koreans. Number 4. Pakistan. The relationship between Pakistan and the United States has always been a delicate dance, at times marked by tension, at others, cautiously cooperative. But in 2025, this relationship faces a new, potentially consequential shift. Pakistan is at risk of being removed from the list of countries eligible for the U.S. green card. But why is this happening, and what's driving the change? The answer lies in growing concerns over national security and a troubling rise in visa overstays. Reports indicate an increasing number of Pakistani nationals are applying for green cards, while also overstaying their temporary visas or violating U.S. immigration laws. While not all Pakistani applicants are involved in these violations, the uptick has certainly raised alarm bells among U.S. immigration authorities. With border controls becoming tighter, even small spikes in violations can prompt drastic policy changes. A particularly significant challenge is the issue of background verification. U.S. officials have faced significant difficulty verifying the documents of applicants from Pakistan's rural areas, where record-keeping is often inconsistent, outdated, or entirely lacking. This directly impacts the efficiency of the screening process and, more importantly, raises serious security concerns, especially with applicants coming from regions marked by conflict or poor infrastructure. The inability to verify applicants' information accurately increases the risk of fraudulent applications slipping through the cracks, further complicating the process. On top of these concerns, political instability and economic hardship in Pakistan have led to a surge in people seeking to leave the country, often through family sponsorship or employment-based green cards. This surge in demand for U.S. immigration has put immense pressure on the already strained U.S. immigration system. Lawmakers are responding to this pressure by considering even stricter oversight, with some proposing a temporary suspension of green card access for certain countries, Pakistan being a likely candidate for these measures. For many Pakistani citizens, this potential loss of access to green cards is deeply concerning. The possibility of being separated from family members or facing endless delays in legal processing is already weighing heavily on them. If these new policies are enacted, thousands of families could be torn apart, and a country already facing economic and political uncertainty will face further hardship. The big question remains: will Pakistan be the next country to lose green card eligibility in the U.S. immigration tightening? How will this affect the millions of Pakistanis who view the green card as their last chance at a better future in America? Share your thoughts and concerns in the comments below, and let's discuss the implications this could have on both the future of U.S. immigration and the lives of those caught in the crossfire. Number 3. Nepal. Nepal, a tranquil and resilient nation nestled in the heart of the Himalayas, might seem like an unlikely candidate for tighter immigration restrictions. Yet, in 2025, this peaceful country finds itself facing the possibility of significantly more stringent rules regarding U.S. green card eligibility. But why? The answer lies in a combination of factors, including immigration fraud, rising instances of visa overstays, and a weak passport management system. In recent years, there has been a troubling surge in Nepali nationals entering the U.S. on tourist or student visas, only to overstay and work illegally. Many of these individuals were misled by unlicensed immigration consultants who promised shortcuts to permanent residency, leading them down a dangerous path of unlawful residency. This rise in fraudulent activities has caught the attention of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, placing Nepal under increased scrutiny for document fraud and violations of immigration laws. Equally concerning is the growing issue of human trafficking. Political instability and widespread poverty in Nepal have made many people vulnerable to exploitation by trafficking networks that prey on their desperation for better opportunities abroad. Some individuals exploit the U.S. green card lottery system, utilizing fake documents or orchestrating fraudulent marriages to game the system. These deceptive practices not only undermine the fairness and integrity of the immigration process, but also jeopardize the opportunities available to honest, hard-working Nepali citizens who seek to build a better future in the United States. Furthermore, Nepal's limited digital infrastructure and its outdated passport management system make it increasingly difficult for U.S. authorities to verify applicants' backgrounds. This creates openings for fraudsters to exploit these gaps in the system, further complicating the immigration process and raising concerns about security risks. The inability to properly verify applicants' identities only adds to the growing concerns regarding Nepal's participation in the U.S. green card system. As of 2025, the U.S. is actively considering suspending or restricting Nepal's green card eligibility unless the Nepali government can make significant improvements in its verification processes and take decisive action against illegal immigration networks. These steps are crucial in ensuring the integrity of the U.S. immigration system and ensuring that only those who meet the legal requirements can benefit from opportunities like the green card lottery. It's important to note that the vast majority of Nepali citizens are hard-working, honest individuals who dream of building a better life in the U.S. However, the actions of a few have placed this dream in jeopardy for thousands of others. The question remains, how can Nepal address these systemic issues? And can the country regain its eligibility for U.S. green cards? Share your thoughts and insights in the comments below. How do you think these challenges should be addressed, and what impact will it have on the future of Nepali immigrants? Number 2. Iran tensions between Iran and the United States have been a long-standing issue. But by 2025, these tensions are reaching a critical point that could severely impact Iranian access to the U.S. green card program. What is the underlying issue? The answer is national security. While the majority of Iranian immigrants are professionals, students, or families seeking stability and opportunity, the U.S. government's concerns about potential security threats posed by Iranian nationals have intensified. These concerns are exacerbated by the ongoing nuclear negotiations and intelligence-related issues. A few isolated incidents involving visa fraud or the abuse of political asylum have contributed to a growing sense of distrust, casting a shadow over the entire Iranian community and heightening national security fears. One of the major complications lies in the diplomatic distance between the two nations. The U.S. does not have an embassy in Tehran, meaning all green card applications from Iranian nationals must be processed through third-party countries such as Turkey or the UAE. This situation not only causes significant delays, but also complicates the verification process, which is especially problematic in a climate of heightened caution in 2025. Immigration authorities can no longer afford to overlook these challenges as they undermine the integrity of the application process. Further complicating the issue is the Iranian government's tight control over internet access and its restrictions on external communication. This makes it incredibly difficult for U.S. intelligence and immigration officials to verify applicants' backgrounds or personal information accurately. Without reliable channels for verification, the national security risks associated with admitting individuals whose information cannot be properly checked become too great to ignore. Faced with mounting political pressure and growing concerns over national security, the U.S. is revisiting its immigration policies for high-risk countries, and once again, Iran finds itself at the center of scrutiny. If current trends continue, the U.S. may be forced to freeze family reunification visas, green cards, and even student immigration programs for Iranian nationals. For the thousands of Iranians who have been hoping to build a better future in the U.S., this potential suspension could be a devastating blow. The real question is it fair for so many to suffer the consequences of the actions of a few bad actors? As the situation unfolds, it will be critical to assess whether the U.S. can strike a balance between ensuring national security and allowing deserving individuals access to opportunities in the U.S. What do you think? Can a solution be found that allows for safe and fair immigration? Or will we see these restrictions become a permanent part of U.S. immigration policy? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next in-depth analysis. XT In-Depth Analysis. Number 1. The United Arab Emirates, UAE. At first glance, the United Arab Emirates, UAE, home to the iconic skylines of Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and one of the richest nations in the world, might seem an unlikely candidate for green card restrictions. However, by 2025, the UAE could face a significant setback in its citizens' ability to access U.S. green cards. The main issue? National security concerns, increasing visa violations, and an alarming rise in asylum claims and visa overstays by UAE nationals. Despite being one of the fastest-growing and most prosperous economies in the region, the UAE has seen a disturbing trend of its citizens, particularly younger individuals, entering the U.S. on tourist or student visas, only to overstay their visas and work or reside illegally. Some individuals are exploiting legal loopholes, filing for asylum claims or seeking unauthorized employment, which puts additional pressure on the U.S. immigration system. This situation is further complicated by the ongoing geopolitical shifts in the Middle East. While the UAE remains a close ally of the U.S., it has increasingly strengthened ties with global powers such as China and Russia, countries under intense scrutiny from Washington. These shifting alliances raise concerns in the U.S. about the potential for the UAE to become a gateway for espionage or foreign influence, especially with its policies of dual citizenship and flexible residency rules for wealthy foreign nationals. Another serious issue is the increasing difficulty U.S. officials face in verifying the backgrounds of some applicants from the Gulf region. The lack of transparency and potential for fraud only add to the national security risks posed by unregulated immigration practices. This, in turn, makes it harder for U.S. immigration authorities to ensure the safety and security of their country while allowing for fair immigration processes. As 2025 unfolds, U.S. immigration authorities are doubling down on national security and enforcing stricter immigration controls. Even close allies like the UAE are not immune to heightened scrutiny. If issues like fraudulent asylum claims, visa overstays, and a lack of cooperation in deportation procedures continue to rise, the possibility of restrictions on green card access for UAE citizens becomes increasingly likely. For the thousands of UAE nationals hoping to study, invest, or settle in the United States, this would be a major blow. Students, entrepreneurs, and families hoping to reunite in the U.S. could see their dreams dashed as the path to the green card becomes harder to navigate. The message from the U.S. government is clear. Regardless of a country's wealth or influence, strict adherence to immigration laws is non-negotiable. Failure to comply with these laws comes with serious consequences. So, what lessons can be drawn from this shift in U.S. immigration policy? First, the U.S. is sending a clear message that national security comes before diplomatic alliances. No matter how wealthy or influential a country is, the integrity of U.S. immigration systems must remain intact. This scenario also raises important questions about the future of global immigration. What happens when powerful nations face such consequences? It reminds us that no nation is exempt from scrutiny, and adherence to legal processes is fundamental in maintaining safe and fair immigration systems worldwide. What do you think about the potential impact of these green card restrictions on the UAE? Could it signal the end of an era of lenient immigration policies? Or will the U.S. find a way to balance security and opportunity? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to stay updated with the latest insights on global immigration trends.